All right, should we start?
Sure.
Do we have to stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance?
Well, we're not really set up for the Pledge of Allegiance, so let's just do like a moment of silence for
Robin, we can't hear you.
everybody suffering from the coronavirus. All right. So the first option or item is the public comment. I don't see anybody really from the public. Okay. The next is the department head reports, which we mainly just have Robin and Tracy. Tracy, do you want to go first since Robin's muted?
Tracy's muted too.
Yeah, I see that.
Hallelujah.
Do they know they can unmute themselves? That's what I had to do.
Tracy
Am I
got
back? There it goes. Okay.
We had a phone meeting today as far as the job meeting went. Everything went as good as could be expected with that. Low Bar Construction is off-site, being a Pennsylvania company. Their state is under lockdown as far as not being able to come into New York and work. So, but the plumbers and electricians are all on site.
All right. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to mute everybody, and then if you want to talk, you can just unmute yourself. How's that? That way we should get less like background noise. Yeah. Tracy, you'll have to unmute yourself again. Sorry.
Am I back?
Yep, you're good.
So did we catch any of that, or was it kind of gargled out?
Probably garbled out. I'll repeat it.
Okay, I was just saying that we did have a conference call job meeting today for the Phase 2 project. Everything went as good as could be expected. Low Bar Construction is off-site. It sounds like they probably will be off-site all of this month due to the coronavirus. Being a Pennsylvania-based company, they're not allowed to come into New York and work, even though we're still, working. But the electricians, plumbers, they're all on site working. It does sound like the electricians, with Low Bar not being there, will probably run out of work that they can move forward with within 2 to 3 weeks. So we'll just have to see what that does for us. Other than that, things are running as normal as can be at the plant. And that's all I really have.
All right. Does anybody have any questions for Tracy?
What do you think we should do about the meeting we got, the bid opening meeting?
Oh yeah, what do you think we should do about the bid opening meeting that's coming up in April?
Low Bar Construction is one of the ones that got one of the packets on that. They've asked for a 1-week extension on it. We did have a pre-bid meeting yesterday. Contractors showed up. We kept our 6-foot distance, went through the project and questions, and things are still moving forward with that. But they did ask for, like I say, the one contractor did ask for a 1-week extension. And when Hunt asked me about it, I felt that we should give it to him. With the situation the whole world's in, we should, if they're asking for an extension, we should give it to them. But other than that, it's still moving forward.
Okay. I see Nate unmuted himself. You got any input on that, Nate?
Yeah, so certainly if you do a 1-week extension, then I think everyone, of course, gets it. But the bid openings, just so Tracy, you're aware, under the governor's emergency orders, bid openings don't have to happen in public right now. You don't have to have everybody able to come and visit. instead what you do is kind of what you're doing right now, which is live stream the bid opening or do a recording of the bid opening and then make the video of the recording available to the bidders and the public if anyone wants to view it. So the bid opening process is not slowed down by the current state of emergency that we're in.
Okay, that's good to know. So then as that gets closer, Mayor, I'll set something up with you if we're still where we have to live stream it or whatever, the opening. That's something you could set up for us?
Yep, definitely.
Okay.
Just need to be able to advertise something.
Nate, Rodney has a question. Do we have to advertise any differently for that if we do end up live streaming it
And changing the date.
and or changing the date of it?
Yeah, if the date gets changed, then anyone who's requested a copy of the bid package should be, it's just like an addendum. You know, you issue a new addenda changing the date for the bid opening. And then for the bid opening itself, publish on the website and send out a notice to, again, all the bidders that really, it'd be through an addenda that the bid opening will not be open to in-person viewing, and it'll be available either, as we just talked about, streaming, or there'll be recording and people can for the recording.
Okay. You get all
I
that
think
right?
we're going to put out the addendum for the date change on the bid opening. But I will definitely reach out to them tomorrow and confirm that and stuff, so.
Okay. Anything else, Tracy?
No, that's it at this point.
So is it
Okay.
decided that it goes to the 21st?
I had a question for Tracy. With Lobar being out of state, what does that do for your digester? Have you started draining that down yet?
We had started draining it down, but as soon as we got word that they wouldn't be coming on site, we stopped that, and it's just all on hold at this time.
Okay, just checking. Thank you.
We don't have any idea when they'll be coming back, right? I mean, I saw just today that Pennsylvania is really on lockdown now, so.
Yeah, and the date that they're saying is April 30th as far as the lockdown, but we'll just have to kind of play it by ear from there.
Okay.
So,
Do we need a motion to move it back?
Nate, do we need a motion to move the bid opening?
No, I don't recall the board making a motion to set the bid opening date. Like any procurement, you know, that's kind of within the department head's purview to publish and kind of within their discretion as to when the openings should be. If the board wanted to do a motion to dictate that, you could, but I don't think it's necessary.
Okay. All right, so if Tracy's done, we'll move on to Robin.
Yes, now everybody can hear me?
Yep, you're good now.
Okay. So obviously the first item is 2031 for that motor. Whichever the options you guys decide you wanted to go with. Suggestion is the motor itself because of the warranty. If they just do each block, there's still corrosion from the antifreeze leaking through the motor. So you don't know what damage has been done. So as soon as you decide which one you want to do tonight, that'd be great, so we can get it done. They have the motor in stock. So it should be, their calculation is like 4 days to get it done and put in.
Oh, that's pretty fast.
Well, right now they're pretty much dead because nobody's coming in with their cars. So that made it an opportune time. So as soon as you let me know on that, I can have them go ahead because they do have it in stock. Nice kitty, by the way. We also took 3.2 down because that engine light kept coming on. Instead of turning it off, we just wanted to get that valve replaced.
Okay.
We're having them do that, and the other little, just to look around, make sure everything was good while we had it down there. And at this point, it's $3,500 to replace and fix everything that they saw, which is not bad for the valve and all that stuff that they did.
Okay.
And we should have that back by this weekend. So
Okay.
that'll back up to 2 rigs again. So they have
Okay.
both at this point.
Right now we're down to 1, right?
Correct, in the fly car. We did not, we're not bringing 3-1 back until we know what we're doing, because it's kind of pointless to do anything with it unless we fix it
Yeah.
or do.
All right.
To the one that we know.
Yes.
So I kind of need to know what option you would like to do. I don't know if everybody got the information. I know I
I
sent
think
it.
so.
Okay.
Everybody got it, right? The quote?
Yes.
Well, my question is, does that have to
Yes.
go out to bid?
Oh, here's Ed just joined too, by the way, guys. Hi, Ed.
Hey, Ed.
Hello, Ed.
Hi, Ed.
Okay, what was your question?
I guess it's more towards Nate. I don't know if because of the cost, does that have to go out to bid or not? As far as getting different prices from different places?
Your only problem with that is we are very limited on what places can actually do this work.
Well, that's fine. I just want to make sure we're obeying the guidelines set forth by the village to make sure we don't get ourselves in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any input on that, Nate?
Yep, sorry,
You're
I had both my computer and the phone muted. Robin, how much is the estimated cost for the repair for the replacement of the motor?
It's almost 21, but that also has a warranty with it as well.
I'm sorry, that was kind of breaking up. Did you say 21 something?
Yeah.
So that's over the $20,000 threshold for ordinarily the trigger for competitive purchasing. And so then we'll need to understand, or the board should understand, why this isn't subject to a competitive process. So Robin, you mentioned that there's only a few places that can do this work.
Correct.
How many places?
You have Royal, and if you give it to Royal, it's probably 4 months and then back as usual. And this guy here is pretty much the only one sort of going, I think it was either Rochester, out that way to get it. And quite frankly, we weren't sure the rig was going to make it that far to get it replaced.
I mean, if this is an emergency repair, then that can be a reason to not have to competitively bid something. And so, like, how urgent is this repair?
Both blocks are cracked. That ought to tell you.
Well, but it's urgent in the sense that this vehicle won't operate. But do we have enough vehicles otherwise to continue operating, or is there a real need to have a third ambulance?
Well, right now we only have one.
Okay, so with one, why is that an issue? Just, and I'm not peppering you with questions to pepper you with questions. You know, the purpose is to flush this out so the board understands the emergency nature of this. Like, why is only having one ambulance a bad thing?
Well, it's just common practice to have at least 2. So if you have 2 calls, you can cover them both. And right now we can't do that.
So without this fix to the motor, we're unable to respond to the calls that we ordinarily would be able to respond to.
Correct.
Right. So I think that establishes anyway the grounds for saying or justifying why authorizing this, even though it's above the competitive threshold on an emergency basis, would be permissible. So if the board were to authorize the replacement of the motor, I think that you could do that and go to, you know, possibly get some quotes, like it sounds like Robin's already done, and then picking whichever one you're going with.
Hi, guys. I'd like to move to go ahead, just because of the emergency nature, to authorize Robin to go get that bid or accept the bid that she's already gotten for the replacement of the motor on 2031.
Girl.
Yeah.
I
I'll
second that
second that.
motion.
That Fran?
That was Laura.
What's that second?
Oh, Fran, did you second it?
Yes.
Mayor, I would just ask that there be a not to exceed cost included in that motion.
Right. What's the cost on the? I gave mine to Rusty.
The 21 for 2318, right?
Yeah, so it would be 20. The cost is $21,423.18. So
That's with the labor. And that also comes with a warranty.
I'm gonna mute you. There we go. All right, try that again, Robin.
I said that's also with the that includes the labor, and they're gonna have a warranty with it as well, which is something we did not have with the other motor.
Right. And it also said it includes miscellaneous parts and labor of $1,000 to cover any additional unforeseen parts or labor that may be required when completing the repair.
And
So-
like he said, he estimated the worst case scenario when he did this estimate too. So it may come in less.
So if we said not to exceed 22,000, we should be okay.
I would hope.
Me too.
All right, well, I'd like to just say that it would be not to exceed 22,000 then.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Sorry, I keep muting you. You're just very echoey.
So I have two questions.
All right, Rusty has some questions.
Can you hear me?
Can everybody hear Rusty?
Yes.
So when we
Hey, Rusty.
put the $3,200 or $3,500 into the repairs for 2032, which was supposed to be done in a couple of days, how many ambulances will we have then?
We should have 2.
Except 3-3 has to go out as well. After that one comes back, we're playing a juggling act. We're getting one fixed before we can send another one out.
What's
trying-
up with 3-3?
It's got an oil leak.
So that's the one we're doing.
That's the other one, okay.
Not 3-2 with the other leak. Okay.
No, 3-2 is down there now, and that's because of the sensor. And when that comes back, then 3-3 I don't think it has to go down there. I'm not sure which one we're going to try to go to that's the best reasonable for us. For the oil leak. It'll probably end up going back down where these are. But basically at that point, either way, we've only got one until the motor gets put into the other one.
Because the other 2 that we have need work.
Mm-hmm.
But we're gonna get 3-2 back in a few days, is that the deal?
We're hoping. I mean, that's what they said. It would only take a few days.
Few days for that, and then when we get that back, we want to send 3-3 down to get the oil leak checked out and or fixed, whatever the problem there.
Yes. The only reason we're doing this now with getting everything rotated around is because everything is slow and it's beneficial for us that we don't have to be down so long without ambulances because they have the time to put the stuff in now and work on it now.
And everything may not be slow for long. I mean,
That's it. That's what and we're like jumping on, hey, yeah, we can do this.
I know one question Rusty had and I had was, so if we get this new motor put in 3-1, how good is the rest of the unit,
Well, who's to tell? I mean, it looks good so far. I mean, eventually it's going to have to be rechassied. We already knew that before. That's always that was the whole goal of getting all the rigs the same so that we could rechassis instead of having to repurchase, buying a whole new ambulance. So how long it will take for a rechassis, I can't tell you that.
So the question there is what kind of shape is that ambulance in? Is it to our benefit to put $20,000 into this ambulance? It is various other parts of it, various other things okay or not okay? What does rechassising cost?
That's about $100,000.
But re-chassis would include the engine, right?
Yeah.
So you're talking 80,000 difference. Well, 70,000, but yeah.
So those are the questions. Do we want to put a certain amount of money into this particular ambulance, and what kind of shape is it in, and is that the best thing for us to do? That's the one. And then the other question was back to the emergency of having only one ambulance. Do we have only one ambulance? We kind of have two, but they're not right here this second.
Correct.
And those are the questions on that.
Looks like Ed's trying to join again. He got kicked out, now he's back in. Hi, Ed. So we're talking about the ambulance engine quote we have. And we have a motion from Laura and a second by Fran to accept the quote for the engine in 2031. There you are, Ed.
I don't think he likes us jumping away.
So I have another quick question while we're waiting for Ed or what we're doing there. This work will be done by Simmons Rockwell in Halstead?
Yes.
Is it CSI in some way?
Excuse me?
Is CSI involved in this or?
Oh, VCI.
Not CSI, VCI, too much TV. Is VCI involved in this?
No. This is one in an offset way. It's one of another facility where they can have their rigs worked on that they've sold. Yes.
So
That's
is,
how we knew it was opening up. So that we get
Are we contracting with Simmons or are we contracting with VCI?
We're not contracting with anybody. The warranty is strictly done through the dealership that we're having it done at.
so it'd be through Simmons.
But VCI is not involved in this then?
No.
Okay.
That's what I was interested in. I just wondered
If we were
if
to read chassis, then that would be them.
That would be that.
Okay.
That was what I was wondering, whether or not we were going a couple of layers here. Were we paying VCI a bunch of money to send it to Simmons and
Right.
they were gonna get a bunch more money? That's what I was interested to know.
No. No, we're trying to do this as quickly as we possibly can.
Any question or any input? I know you just joined in. We're talking about the ambulance engine thing.
Hey, yeah, sorry about that. Can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Yep,
Yes.
you're good.
How you doing?
Had a hard time with trying to do this on my phone, so.
Okay.
What is our verdict?
We're still discussing it.
Yeah, so Ed, we got a motion and a second from Fran to accept the quote from Simmons Rockwell for the engine. It was like not to exceed $22,000.
Yeah.
We were just discussing about it.
One of the concerns I have is generally when engines go, transmissions are not far behind. Do we know what that would cost for a rig of that size?
For the transmission replaced?
Yeah.
I do not. Mechanic is not on my forehead.
I mean, usually you'll get transmission issues, then suspension, because that's a very heavy rig. I mean, I just want to know in the next 5 years, are we going to spend another $40,000? I know we can't tell the future, but I wonder if in the grand scheme, is it better to do the $100,000 re-chassis and take the chance of not having to put an extra 40, 50,000 into it?
That's totally up to you guys. The only reason I even went for the motor is because of the finances of the world right now. I wasn't sure which way you wanted to go.
I just worry about sinking 22,000 in. I mean, obviously we don't know when things are going to break, but that's just where my mind is going.
Well, aren't they giving us a warranty on this?
On the motor, yes.
Yeah, on the motor, there'd be 3-year warranty.
Yeah.
Didn't we just purchase these ambulances?
3-3 you did. 3-1 is the one that we've had another motor put in it and had to have that $14,000 just to try to get that to work. And it just came to the point now where it just needs a brand new motor, and that was all there was to it. Order a chassis, that's your choice. It's not going to do any good to replace the blocks that are cracked because, like they said, the antifreeze has probably gone through and corroded parts of that would just make it go bad anyway, and you just wasted, what was it for that? That was like 18,000 just for them.
Yeah, the difference was only like $3,000.
Yeah, I'd rather pay the 3,000 if we're gonna do this and just get the new engine.
I agree. My only concern is how good is the rest of the chassis, right? Transmission and all that.
It's always a gamble.
I can't tell you, I don't have x-ray vision in that puppy.
Yeah, I know. None of us do. So do we want more discussion on this, or Rusty's shaking his head yes?
Well, the other question I have is, even if we approve it, where are we gonna get all the money for this?
Yeah, that's the next question for sure.
Don't we have some money there in the suite, from the suite fund?
No.
No. Yeah, 5,000 this week.
Yeah, right.
5,000 is 5,000.
Well, if we're gonna keep our ambulance service if we're gonna keep our service, we need to have the ambulances.
Yes, agree.
I agree. If we have this ambulance, we need the ambulance to do the services we say we can provide. But it still doesn't negate the fact that we don't know where we're gonna go with the money. And with the other rigs going into the mechanics, how much money is left in line item? I believe there was roughly 11,000. I don't know what the other rigs are costing. I mean,
The repair on 3-2 is he's saying about 3,500 for that one. And
Yeah,
that was,
we have about 11,000 left in the EMS vehicle repair line item, which sounds like it'll cover the other 2 ambulances that we already, have problems with maybe.
mhm.
Question. I got another question.
Is Rusty.
So if we put $3,500 into 2032, and we're hoping that's back in a couple of days, and then we take 2033 and have them find, hopefully without tremendous difficulty, what the oil leak is, what kind of shape are those ambulances in general, if those two get those things done?
They're in good shape. I know that one of them has to get the tires rotated. I think it's 3-3. So we were going to have them do that while it was there.
Okay.
Okay.
So if we do those things, we will have 2 ambulances that are in good shape and running. So how does that fit into our emergency idea of putting the engine into 3-1?
Did everybody go on mute?
No.
No.
I can't, I don't have any say in any of it. So I understand where you're coming from, Rusty, 100%.
I'm not saying not to do it. I'm just asking these questions like I always do.
I do. I understand what you're saying, but then again, where do you plan on, any of us, where do we plan on storing this thing? Because we can't, just leave it sitting in the bay if we get it back with the blocks cracked. And they're not going to I don't know what to tell you there. I don't want us to look like the graveyard from hell over there on Elm, on Elm with all these rigs sitting out there,
Yeah.
Plus you have 3, 4, you can throw that on the auction block and contribute that towards it. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. The question is just, does it make sense to put 20,000 into this or do the re-chassis?
If you don't have 20,000, you ain't gonna have 100,000 to find.
Yeah, but we still have to answer the taxpayers for a $20,000 throw out the window if it comes to that.
Yeah,
Right. Since we just put, what, 17,000 or 14,000 into it a year ago.
yep.
Now, how old is this rig?
Good question. I don't remember right offhand.
Sorry, I didn't mean to catch you off guard.
They're running downstairs.
Well, you're not gonna like my recommendation, just like the chief didn't like my recommendation about Scott Air Packs. And my recommendation in general is that we have no idea with this situation with coronavirus and with our budget and with tax money coming in from the county, what kind of money that we're gonna have and where our belts are gonna have to be tightened. If we could live with 32 and 33, we might want to not decide this very minute to be spending more money on this stuff. If we have to, we have to. If we don't have to, this is another thing that we might want to slow down on till we get a feeling in the next bunch of months where we are. So I said it about the fire department, and I'm saying it about this. It's a thought.
I have to agree with Rusty. Tell you the truth. I know the importance of having 2 ambulances to make the calls. And these calls will be coming in too, because we're still going uphill with this.
Yeah.
But we don't know what else is going to hit us in the face.
And we don't know what this whole situation is going to do to the budget either. I mean, in general.
If we don't have the money coming in from the reimbursement for insurance.
What's that, Fran?
I said, if we don't have the ambulances to go out and do service, we won't have the reimbursement coming in from insurance.
That's true. Yeah,
It's a balancing act.
The village is not expecting a stimulus check either.
yeah.
Do we have an idea of? Yeah.
Go ahead, Ed.
Do we know where
Can't hear
we
you, Ed.
stand on village tax collections for the year? Do we know where we stand on village tax collections for the year? Most of this should have been after the majority of our tax collections, and those that weren't collected will get returned to, I think it's to the town, right, or to the county rather, and we'll get them in the fall. So it might be nice if we knew where we stand, in a typical year on our tax collections.
We're always at 100%.
Yeah, we're always at 100% because the county makes us whole, right? So if somebody doesn't pay their village taxes, the county basically pays it and then goes after them. That's how it works. But,
Sorry, that doesn't ever come back to us though, in the end?
no,
We get 100%.
we get their money, but
We get the, right now the county owes us a couple 100,000. We should get that within the next week or something. Then we'll be completely whole between sewer and everything.
The tax
Okay.
problems that we're gonna have are going to be sales tax, which the county
Right.
divvies up amongst the municipalities, and that's gonna go in the crapper. The next tax problem we're gonna have is going to be pension fund, which we have to pay money towards, and with the stock market down, that's going to go into the crapper. So we need to be thinking ahead about what we're gonna be looking at on those things and all the other effects of this.
the sales tax, me and Rodney were looking at the sales tax earlier. We're fairly on target. Obviously, this is going to affect it, but we do always guess really low. and assume that we're gonna get more. So we're gonna be close to our guess, which is typically low, which doesn't help, but at least we'll be close to what the budget says. It shouldn't affect the actual budget too much, but. And the good thing is we're 7 months in to our budget cycle is not horrible with the timing of this, but. What do I think we should do? Rusty wants to know what I think we should do.
I think we should vote on this.
I think we should seriously look at rechassing one. And I mean, you're talking, we're gonna have to bond it, borrow it, but you know, pay each year, but we might in the end be saving money. If we keep putting 20 grand into this every year anyway, and we're piecing together a piece of junk.
Robin, do you think that if we don't decide this tonight, that with 32 and 33, hopefully each getting back here pretty one at a time, pretty quick, we will have two for a little while that we, at least for a little while, that we can use while we try to get a handle on this?
Yeah, because I mean, basically, I don't know what the oil leak is in 3.3. I have no clue. Nobody's going to know until they get looking at it to see what it is. So either way, we're going to be one ambulance even when they come back, when the other ambulance comes back. Because we're going to be
they couldn't get this one, even if we said yes tonight, they couldn't get this one back probably for a couple of weeks, right?
correct.
So we're going to be one ambulance for a couple of weeks either way.
And certainly if 233 comes back from the oil leak with the engine shot or there's some giant thing, then that's a different set of circumstances. We have to take that into account.
Yeah, because an oil leak could be anything from a gasket to really big. You never know.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm not trying to drain you folks. Trust me, I'm not.
No, we're not trying to say no. We're just trying to do the right thing.
Oh, understood. That's why I just sit here waiting for. My only thing is, I don't know if you want to wait and see what the verdict is on 3.3 or what the deal is, because I don't know how long they're willing to set that ambulance down there, and whether it's going to, survive a trip back and forth is, I don't know.
How'd we get it down there? Did it drive down there?
It got down there. We drove it down.
I mean, Halstead's not horribly far, but
yeah.
No.
Do we have any idea what the time frame would be for a re-chassis?
I do not. If it gets re-chassied, it's done through the other place.
We should probably get at least get a quote on it.
I think, don't quote me, do not quote me. I believe they said if we do the re-chassis, they'd give us one in the meantime. Jeez.
Oh, like a loaner?
Yeah.
Well, my recommendation is that we get 3.2 back. Hopefully that'll be working okay. We send 3.3 in, see what the oil problem is, and we table this motion until that time should be done by our next meeting. We table this motion until that information comes back to us. That's my recommendation.
And we can get a quote, an actual quote for a re-chassis on 3.1. So we know what the number is. Is it 100,000? Is it 150,000? Is it, what is it?
All right.
Just so we can compare all the options, because we have the heads, we have the engine, we don't have the re-chassis.
Yeah, the only thing that I got told it was about $100,000 for the re-chassis. So
right,
that was all I got. So I mean, if that's my other question to you is, I'm assuming that rigs in new tires because of where the wear is from not being rotated. Because unfortunately, Morris can put tires on, but they can't do the balancing and all the other stuff, and we have to keep trying to find places to do that.
Okay.
So if we have that rig down there, which I think is I'm pretty positive it's 3.3. Christ, they all look the same right now. That needed the rotation and stuff done. Just do it there, as opposed to buying the tires here, taking it all the way down there just to get it balanced and whatever. Or how do you want me to do that? My suggestion is doing it down there and getting it over with, but.
Yeah, I would think if they could just do it all, I mean, and it's reasonable price.
And that'll save a
Since we
trip.
have a motion, excuse me, since we have a motion and a second, I think we should have a vote.
I move that we table the motion.
Second that.
I think you have to vote on that. That's not-
We have to vote on the table.
Have to vote on the table.
Right, we have to
Should we
vote
call
on
the
the
vote?
table, right?
So what you want from me is you want a quote for a re-chassis. And my suggestion would also be to find out if that does include a loaner
Correct.
as well as time frame. Correct? Is that what
Yes.
I'm asking for getting from everybody?
Yes.
Just make sure we're all on the same page here.
Vote on the table.
Let's vote on the
Okay.
table.
So we have to vote on the table, just to see if it tables or not. So I'll call on you. Charles,
Vote to table it.
Fran,
No,
Ron,
I vote to table it.
Laura? Oh, you're on mute, Laura, sorry.
I read her lips. That was a yes to
Yes.
table.
Table.
Okay, and Ed,
Yeah, vote to table.
okay, and Rusty,
Yes.
and then I vote yes to table it too, to get more information.
Haha, I did get a yes out of it. Love you, Rusty. And I agree.
We're going to try to do the best thing.
I totally agree. I am not hard to get along with usually. Okay. I asked Jim Morris. We had masks that were put in the ambulances, obviously, for our care of the patients. They disappeared. I asked him to go on the cameras and tell me who did it. I don't care if it's fire, EMS, who did it. I wanted to know. Gave him the time frame. I haven't heard back from him, which is very frustrating to me because what's the point of having the cameras if I asked him to pull up the footage and he doesn't or doesn't get back to me? I mean, I'm just flustered with it because like if the cameras are there, why aren't I getting answers as to who's taking things out of the ambulances?
This is serious if somebody's taking things out of our ambulances.
Yeah, especially.
Yeah,
getting
who's
it
to
right
say
now.
they stop at the masks? Who's not? I mean, we have,
Yeah, so we'll get to the bottom of that and figure it out. Because we all, we gotta work together for sure, so.
From this point on, are there precautions being taken so this doesn't happen in the meantime?
well, pretty much everybody's been fit tested for the size they have, and a lot of them have their own masks and they have them in a paper bag. But once again, you still have some that are coming from home that may not have it, or coming from work may not have it, that need to pull it out of the rig to use it. And if it's not there, that delayed the care that day. It was actually for a CPR, just so you understand that they had to go upstairs and unlock the cabinet where they're locked up so that they didn't run away in the back cabinet.
Right.
So they had to
Right.
run upstairs, unlock the cabinet, get some masks, come back down for a CPR.
Yeah, that's time consuming.
I mean, unfortunately, it didn't matter, but at the same time, that's time consuming.
I
That's
did,
why,
on that mask subject, I did sit on a conference call today from FEMA,
mhm.
and FEMA has declared this a disaster. So we can possibly, that's one thing that maybe can be covered. If we've spent more than $3,300 on masks and stuff, they've covered it for emergency equipment, basically,
Mhm.
like masks, gowns, shields, that kind of thing.
It's
Also,
more shields and gowns for us.
Yeah.
I have another person right now that I'm supposed to find out if I got approved for a significant number of masks that I requested to be ordered. Yes, they've jacked up the price because of this, but if I can get them, we're gonna get them so that we have
Yeah.
the protection here.
So I guess the moral of the story is keep track of receipts and what you've bought because of the COVID-19, you know,
Mhm. Yep.
because we may be able to get reimbursement for some of it.
Okay. So my next thing is what's going on with the clinical agreement? Has anything been done so that these students that would like to be able to go to the hospital and help because they're asking for them, and without this contract, they cannot participate to help?
Nate, are you still there?
He's gone.
Here he comes.
Yep, so those were sent off to both of the hospitals and we haven't heard anything back from them.
Any way to do a follow-up because of this stuff? They may have lost the shuffle.
Well, we sent them back in December, I think. So I don't think the most recent issue would have caused any shuffling issues, but certainly we can follow up with them.
That would be awesome, Sauce. What about the territory? Have we gotten any further with that as well?
I'm waiting for the EMS folks to finish going through those boxes of records that were dug out of the firehouse to let me know if there's anything useful in those.
Didn't Johnny sign the paper?
So useful, you mean as in dates?
Right. I mean, anything that shows service was being provided to the areas that the village is seeking to clarify its territory.
Okay. In that territory. From 75 is all we have, so. All right. So that's all you're missing from that.
There's most likely a few other things, but I kind of put a hold on that once I heard there were records that were found, just because we need to understand what's in those records to help put the picture together. I mean, and if there's any other boxes or anything, I mean, it's kind of surprising to hear that those were found after I'd asked repeatedly, was there anything available, and was told repeatedly, no, there wasn't. So, I mean, if anyone can go through the fire station to, you know, top to bottom to see what else is in there, that might be useful. That'd be very helpful.
Well, we did go on a scrummaging match. And the only reason that these even got noticed was because we were moving things around to lock up items. Otherwise, these things were buried so far back in a thing we would never have noticed. That's the only reason that they were even discovered to begin with. So it's not like anything was hidden and we just didn't give you the information. It was just that literally was hidden and not by us per se. I think what happened with the flood.
I was just going to say, I understand that, but I mean, that's one of the issues I think that's been noted in the past few years with the fire and the EMS folks is that the village, quote unquote, you know, as an entity needs to get its arms around what documents are in the fire station and kind of inventory, catalog them, so that way the clerk's office can locate them, put their hands on them if they're useful. I mean, there might be some historical value there. I mean, there's reasons to go through top to bottom and try to figure that stuff out, even aside from the operating territory issue.
Well, there's a lot of old books and stuff that are down there, but I'm not going through that stuff because that's just library book. I mean, historical books that have nothing to do with the territory. But there are a lot that were found throughout the station that we put it down there in one generalized area. So we didn't know if the historical society wanted them. They didn't want them. I mean, we kept asking who wanted them. Nobody wants them. So there they are, stashed downstairs. But we didn't throw it away.
I think the clerk's office should be made aware of, these things and given the opportunity to look at them and decide whether they should be held onto for the village purposes or not. And again, one of the things that we're trying to do with clarifying the operating territory is show that back in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, the village was authorized to provide EMS or ambulance services to those areas. And so any call logs or any records that we have showing that would be very helpful.
Well, we have these from back from 75. As for those old books, they're mostly fire department stuff as to literally all fire department stuff. But we've asked anybody who wants them, nobody answered. We kept trying, so they're down in the basement. But they're literally just historical books, not record keeping books. They're just old books with old firemen.
All right.
But anybody that wants to go rummage through them, feel free. Because I don't do mildew.
Yeah. All right. So anything else, Robin?
Nah. I don't know. I heard that. Did they get a new washer over at the fireside? Because I'm not sure if I heard that or not.
Yes.
All right. Well, we can make space outside of the bathroom that we get downstairs and put the old one there if it's functioning. Because right now, I'm making people go to the laundromat and, use Lysol and with the laundry detergent to clean the items that these people made for us. I appreciate everything everybody made, but people are handling these things and nothing was sterilized before we acquired them. So literally been using the laundromat, which how do we say this tactfully? Hasn't been sterilized to use the machines, so we're like sterilizing the machines to use them to be able to stuff. So if it's working, if it's in good shape, is that something we can appropriate?
Yeah, I think that was the grand plan, was they got a new one and then they were gonna let you guys have the old one because there's nothing wrong with it. It was just too small for their gear. So, but it should work good for you guys.
Yeah, it's just putting it into place. We can move the backboards and stuff there and squeeze it in there, but then it's that way it's right close to the bathroom for.
Yep. We just got to make sure they actually got the new one. I know they were working on it.
Okay.
We'll check with the chief and make sure they got the new one already. You know what I mean?
You know what kind of condition the bottom of the rig's in? Hang on a second. See if I'll get the chassis instead of the motor.
Well, you're probably looking at
100,000.
at 9 months. At least we don't have a current rechassis quote. The last one that we did was a couple, 3 years ago.
All right, so Paul is here. If you don't mind him chiming in about your question, Rusty, with the rechassis. We haven't had one done in what, about 3 years?
A quote.
A quote done. So how old is this 31? I couldn't remember what the age of that one was. We got minds churning here. We're just trying to get your information that I couldn't give you.
I can tell you, hang on.
But anyway, well, he's looking that up. So it's all right that we use the washer, you said?
Yeah, as long as they got their new one.
Well, I'm not gonna steal it.
Even so, it was okay that you used it. You know what I mean?
It's coordinated with Jim.
It's fine to use as long as we coordinate with Jim. So.
Yeah. Well, because we had so many of those masks donated and made and gowns, I did it all as in one lump thing, gave them quarters and sent them off the laundromat with disinfectant and
Yep.
stuff, water, and bagged them individually. And we've got a beautiful array of masks.
That's good.
The Superman one's going to be mine. Yeah.
All right, we will kind of move on then if Paul finds the age of that.
Yep, go ahead. Next victim.
Okay, hang on, I'm gonna
Access for
mute you again. Okay, so our next item is payment of bills. Oh, do we want to report on, do you have any report for the police department?
the fire department report is Jim can't come tonight. He's at the fire board meeting.
Oh, right, it is tonight, yeah.
And they've had not very many calls this month, and other than that, things are quiet. Police department is dealing with this corona stuff, as is the fire department, as is the EMS, and all of them are putting their lives on the line and doing wonderful. And so they don't have a particular thing at this very moment.
Okay. We should pass that same message to track any sort of expenses related to the corona. We can't claim, we can claim some overtime, but we can't claim like labor type stuff, but we can claim physical stuff if we have to buy it, for sure. So, okay. And Jeff couldn't come tonight either from DPW, but those guys are out doing their thing. They're working in rotating shifts, so try and keep them safe. Try to do that for a little bit more. Technically, they're essential, but we're still trying to keep them safe. But they are out working, filling potholes and picking up sticks and stuff like that. Anything? Yep, same thing with the clerk's office. We've got them, so there's 3 people in there, Cindy, Kim, and Rod. They're rotating, so there's only one person here at a time, but somebody is here every day, you know, that it's open, normal hours. So we're trying to keep everybody safe, but keep things moving at the same time. Next item on the agenda.
I have a question for Nate or Rodney.
Sure.
I was curious about our positions, just because the election is off. Is it off until it's back on, or, I mean, do we assume we have these roles through the months that this is going to take, or how does that work?
Nate will tell you.
Yeah. Nate, you want to chime in on that?
Yeah, so Charles, that's a great question, of course. Whenever something happens to cause a delay like this, and it could be in elected positions, it could be in appointed positions, the person holding the office, in this case you folks, holds over until such time as the replacement is chosen. Okay. You know, until such time elections happen. Ordinarily, there's a little, you know, like a week or so, kind of I'll say a lame duck period between the election and when the new person takes office. But because of this delay, they would be sworn in immediately upon being having confirmed. And then kind of segueing this into the annual meeting, this, of course, was supposed to be your annual meeting tonight. But because of the change in the election, the governor's office and NICOM are recommending that your annual reorganizational meeting also be delayed. The reason for that is if the newly elected individuals wanted to change something, they should have the ability to do that. Just to assuage your concern. Anything that was left over from the annual meeting, you know, your appointments and things from last year, it, like you, carries over until such time as the new meeting takes place to have your reorganization. That'll be, at least as of now anyway, sometime in June.
Okay. Well, thank you. Man, I know most of us are running unopposed. I was just wondering, since there was no opponents, if we were sworn in like automatically or whatever. I mean,
Don't get too
but we
cocky.
still have to go through the process.
Yeah, there could be write-ins.
Right.
you know.
Right, there could be write-ins.
Okay, all right. I was just curious.
So yeah, everything holds over. That's why we were supposed to do the annual meeting tonight, so we'll just do it after the elections, whenever the elections are.
Well, didn't the
Yeah,
governor
right now
say
they're-
June 23rd?
Right. Right now they're saying at least June 20, or at least June 1st at the earliest. We haven't gotten an actual date yet. Right. The primaries were moved to June 23rd, but they didn't say anything about village elections, so we're still waiting on an actual official date.
Because they want them having the same day, same money.
Right.
The day one, the sequence.
So more to come on the elections for sure.
Okay.
Everything holds over until there is an election, is the way I understand it. So,
We're stuck.
yeah, we're here till at least June, or whenever we have an election. All right. So payment of bills. Did everybody get the payment of bills in their email?
Yep, I looked them over.
You can hear it's okay. Anybody have any questions about the payment of bills?
I did have a question about smart water. Are they actually maintaining that stuff now, or is Jeff still doing that?
Well, that's a good question.
They're doing
It's
it.
a $13,000 bill.
Yeah.
That's a yearly bill, and that's what Jeff agreed that they are doing it. Yeah.
Picking back up, because I know Jeff was filling in for a while. He said they came and looked and never came back. I just want to make sure we're not giving them 13 grand a year to do nothing.
Yep. No, I think he straightened that out with them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions about the payment of bills?
No.
All right.
I motion we pay the bills.
Okay.
I second that.
Okay. Discussion. Okay, so we'll do a vote here. I'll go in order I see it. Charles,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Fran. Fran, are you there?
Did she mute herself?
No, she's not muted.
Yes.
There we go. Ron
Yes.
and Ed.
No.
Yes.
Okay, and yes for me. Oh, Rusty?
I'm in the kitchen right now,
He's
getting
in
a sandwich.
He's in the kitchen, yep.
Yes.
Okay.
I have
All
some
right.
answers for you if you want them.
Okay, sure.
Yes.
Okay, it's a 2004, 2031 is. The one that they just did for VCI for a re-chassis was,
Hello.
you can't hear me?
Yes, I said yes.
Okay, is 115 was the last one that they did, 115,000.
That was 3 years ago?
No, they didn't get it done. That was the last
No,
quote.
I'm here. You can't hear me?
Well, we
Yeah,
got
we-
the
I
Fran.
voted yes.
Yep,
And it takes 10 months.
I think Fran is on a delay.
He
I
is.
think so, yeah.
It takes 10 months to get it re-chassis.
Oh, wow.
But we get a loaner that can get confirmed with that.
Okay.
We actually have the gentleman on the phone right now, so that we can
Oh,
get your
okay.
questions answered.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Thanks.
So I guess let's get an actual quote, you know what I mean?
So any
So
other
go from-
questions you may have for him while he's on the phone?
Do we have any other questions for PCI? You good, Rusty?
Yeah.
I think we're good, Robin.
Okay.
Thank you.
And everybody that's been underneath it so far has not noticed any problems underneath.
if
Oh,
you
it's
go
with 31?
online, go online, van cutaway chassis, they can see exactly what gets put underneath the box.
Okay, if you guys want to look at this, if you go online to van cutaway chassis, you can see exactly what happens. So,
And-
For a re-chassis, you mean?
yeah, so it goes under van cutaway chassis.
Okay.
And that way you guys can see what the process is and whatnot for future.
Okay.
Okay? That's all I got.
Okay. All right.
Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, thanks for the information. So next thing we have is the meeting minutes from 3/16/2020. Did everybody get the minutes?
Yep. I make a motion to accept those.
I'll second.
All right, so Charles and Ron. We'll have, anybody discussion on those? Everybody good? We'll have a, vote on those. Charles,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Fran,
Yes,
yes, okay.
yes,
Ron
Yes.
and Ed,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
wasn't in the kitchen this time, and yes for me. All right, so the next thing is, hang on 1 second. Make it so we can hear. Next thing is communications. I don't really have a ton of communications this time, besides there's been a lot of crazy stuff the last couple of weeks. Definitely promote the social distancing among the village. It's a good thing. All the messages they're sending out there. We did today close the playground equipment because that's a good idea, because who knows when the last time that was actually cleaned. Probably a year ago when we did it, and the park cleanup. So that's probably a good idea. And that the virus does live on metal like the longest. That's what they're saying. So shouldn't have a bunch of kids playing on the playground equipment. I know other communities are having trouble with basketball courts. I haven't seen that around here yet. We'll monitor and see what happens. Obviously, the edict is if you don't live in the same house with people, even if they're your friend, relative, co-workers, whatever, you're supposed to stay kind of away from them, 6 foot, or more. So that's hard to do. Like, I mean, we were holding the Big Dipper ice cream shop today, and friends see each other. And sometimes hard to do, but you gotta do it. This thing we're fighting is a rough thing because we can't see it and we don't know. You might be infected and not know it. And 14, 20 days later, you're all sick. So anyway, just keep an eye on that. Next thing is trustee reports. I'll go around the thing here. Start with Charles.
Yeah, like Mike was saying about the parks. I mean, I caught wind of it. I keep my ear to Facebook, which is the village's outlet. So far, the community isn't in an uproar. I would have had assumed that there would be more people complaining now that they're in the house and have not much else to do but complain. But caught wind of the situation with the parks, and it was a no-brainer, being that it was involving children, that we had to jump into action on that. I don't know why parents didn't figure this out, but some people have to be told and action has to be taken care of. So a lot of the census on that is a lot of people are happy that we took care of that as soon as we heard about it. So there's a lot of people happy about that. Although although Hickory's is not in our jurisdiction, I took it upon myself to go down there to see what the situation was, and they fixed that situation really quick also. Mike and I got on to WeBo, the radio station. Thank you, WeBo. Setting up a contest with our residents to give them a little something else to do with the whole family, making decorations and turning it into a contest. And they can go around, keeping in mind the social distancing. It gets people out, stretch their legs and everything. And we also can help support our local businesses by using Mario's and Originals to donate dinners. I agreed to that from the mayor and the mothers who came up with the rules of this contest. So that was pretty good. I see Weibo also having parties that you could log on to. It's really fun. I logged on one today and watched Irene Radigan dancing around doing the Macarena, and it was very entertaining. So I really want to thank them because they've been doing a lot for our community. Like I said, the overall attitude is really good. I think the community is coming together. There was a few problems, something concerning the Owego kitchen that I guess the mayor's going to take care of. We'll post something. The children are getting their meals from the school. I donated my time, volunteered to go down, and I have a list of families that I deliver to during the morning time. So if people didn't hear, they changed the scheduling of picking up lunches. Only pick up from OES, the loop where the buses go, on Mondays and Thursdays. So they'll give you enough food on Monday to last you Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And then you pick up food on Thursday to last you Thursday and Friday. So that's pretty good. They have the buses, they go around to different stops. A lot of people can't go to those stops or maybe get there late. So that's the reason why I go out and help do that. Can't stress enough about if you don't have to be out, stay your behind home. I mean, this is really serious. I mean, I had to go out for an appointment. I was scared to death to be out in the public. And I think most people need to feel that way because this is serious. I mean, when you watch the news and you see the death toll doubling every 2 days, one day it's 100, the next day is 2, then it's 4, then it's 8, 100. It's a scary situation. It's like living in a movie, a horror movie that just won't end. We have to be mindful of people in stores, the elderly. I mean, this affects everybody. So we can't stress enough about the social distancing and everything. So I will keep my ear to the grind and the grapevine and make sure if there's any issues to make sure the mayor knows, or if we can run out and handle these things ourselves, we can. That's about all I got to say about that.
Thanks for doing what you're doing, Charles.
It's a good lesson. You can come to Nerd Valley and do it so I don't have to.
Hey, I got a lot of Uber time.
All right, who's
I hate
next?
to be a
Laura?
pain in the butt, but I'm going to throw something at you guys.
Okay.
PSI said, PCI, excuse me, said that it's 10% down upon contract. And then you have the 10 months to accumulate, obviously, for the rest. And you have that loaner during that time. So that's the last I'm gonna give you, just so that you know that it's 10% down upon contract agreement. And then it's at least 10 months for the rechassis.
Okay,
So, and then it doesn't, the rest doesn't have to be paid until delivery.
okay.
So we need a direction if we're gonna start.
Yeah, so whatever direction you want to go, the sooner I know, the quicker I can get things rolling for you guys.
Okay.
Okay? I'm all done now. I promise. I hung up.
All right, Laura, your turn.
Okay, hey guys. OHPC is going to have a meeting on this GoToMeeting. They're going to give it a try, I believe tomorrow at 7 p.m. is their meeting. So if you can post the link, Mike, so that the public knows. They're going to do some just sort of routine business things that they have to do. They have to file the CLG thing for April, or for the year in this April. So they're going to get that all together and issued out. And so that's tomorrow night. And then also I'd like to encourage everybody to do the census today. If you haven't done it, make sure you do it, because, you know, we don't want people to have to go out and knock on doors at a time like this. You know, when everybody's at home, they can go ahead and do it, you know, over the phone or on the computer. It only takes a few minutes. If you've lost the form that came in the mail, just go online, put your address in the bar, and it's very simple. And we, you know, need everybody to get counted, because we have money and different things, you know, depend on getting our numbers in for the census. Okay, so that's all I've got, and this meeting style went all right.
Yeah,
Thanks,
good.
guys.
Good. Yeah, it's Census Day, actually.
Yes.
So yeah, it's a good message.
I did mine.
Yeah, I did mine too. Not today, but before. Only took a couple minutes. So, let's see, who's next? Fran, I see you're unmuted. You want to go?
Yeah, I have no particular report to make about the cemetery committee. I think they're going to be meeting next week. Yeah, the Tog Opportunities is doing organized making masks, and so I'm going to be helping out with that.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
And if the cemetery committee wants to
I've been
use
helping
this, if the cemetery committee wants to use this format, they can to meet. You know what I mean? Anybody can. Just let me
Okay.
know.
Yeah, well, I'll let John know so he can set that up with you. Okay,
Yep.
thanks.
Great. And maybe Ed, you want to go?
Yeah, I don't have anything.
Okay. Everything good on your end of the Front Street down there?
Things are good.
All right. Stay safe. Ron?
I was on a teleconference today with the phase 2. Other than that, I really haven't been doing much, but trying to stay safe and just keep people calm that come in.
That's a good plan.
All I got.
Okay. Rusty? You're not in the kitchen, so.
Yeah, my stuff is usually business, business, business. You don't get a lot of fuzzy things from me, but tonight, just a quick couple seconds of fuzzy. I know people understand, but they don't understand what our first responders are doing and how much they're putting their lives on the line to take care of us. EMS, unbelievable the things that they're doing to go out there and do this. The police and the fire, we're going to be just so grateful to them for so long. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. All right. Next item is the mayor's report. I did a report, but I mean, mainly the same message, right? We did the WEBO. I was actually on twice last week. First time was to talk about what the village itself is doing differently with the COVID-19, which we've got a procedure for the police, the fire, the EMS you know, as far as personal protective equipment, and we've worked with the Department of Health. We're rotating the schedules, that kind of thing, trying to keep everybody safe. Then the second time we went on was virtually with Charles, and then a group of mothers approached me about doing a decorating contest, really just to kind of give our residents something to do, even though we're, you know, we all kind of want to be together, but we can't. So something that you can do apart is decorate your house, a window, door, whatever. And then they came up with an idea of a pizza party for a prize. So that'll be kind of cool. That's going on hopefully this week, and the idea is for like 3 weeks in a row. So just to kind of give people a little something to do. You can go around, look at the decorations and things like that. Try and keep everybody safe, even do something together, but stay apart. So that's, I guess, the main message is just stay safe, and hopefully this meeting format worked for everybody. We can still post it to YouTube when we're done here, and anybody can join in. We can have 250 people on this thing if we want to. Might get a little crazy, but the idea is to keep us all safe and you know, do everything we can do. So our last thing is public comment. I see we have a couple extra people that joined that weren't here in the start. If anybody has anything for public comment, I guess just unmute yourself. And
Is Mike Devani out there in the public, in the audience?
not sure. There's a waiting on names, so I'm not sure. Not sure who it
The
is.
rainbow.
If you're out there, Mike, thank you for joining. I missed you. He's our audience.
And I guess, I mean, you guys are mentioning like local businesses. I guess that's another message. Support our local businesses, you know, if you can. I know I have been trying to, you know, order takeout and whatever. But a lot of the restaurants and even bars are still open for takeout, delivery. They'll come right to your car with the stuff.
Cool. Beer.
Yeah, you can get drinks too, Robert.
So public comment, we see who is all signed in. This is all this technology, so we know everybody and everything and where they live and who's
Right.
signed in everything. And Andrew, we see that you signed in. If you had anything to say to us, you're welcome to chime in, but you're not under any pressure to do it. But thanks for listening in, Andrew.
Oh, this format worked pretty cool, actually.
I want
All
to
right,
focus.
if nobody else,
We had a lot of community people that actually dropped off food and stuff for our members, and I wanted to thank them who have done that. And if you, I don't know, OPD has been wonderful again. I mean, they've actually outshined some other providers that I've seen in other territories that don't even wear gloves and masks. So our sheriffs and police department are more diligent than the ones over Brooklyn County way that I've noticed some of. So that's nice to see that they're willing to protect themselves and us here as well.
that's good.
And I just had a nudge of the shoulder here. And if you want us to go ahead and get an actual quote on a re-chassis, we will. The sooner we do that, the sooner you get an accurate amount. So if you want me to do that, I will do so.
Oh, yes, I would say let's get an actual.
Is that what everybody wants?
Yep.
Okay. I see heads nodding. Okay, we're good.
All right, anybody else have anything? Other than that, I think we're good. All right, have a good night, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike, for setting this up. Have a good night, everybody. Stay safe.
Yipper.
All right.